Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the first Digital Northern Business Achievement Awards. These are very difficult times for Victoria and Melbourne's North. Some of our businesses have had to shut overnight. Today, however, we applaud the support and integrity businesses have shown towards each other and their communities during this crisis. Many businesses in Melbourne's North have shown great resilience and strength, and we are here today to celebrate them. As most of you know, my name is Chris James, Executive Director at Northlink. I'll be your MC this morning, along with our event manager, Julia Truong.
Thanks, Chris. Hi, everyone. I am the Creative Director of JT Production Management. You may have seen me and my team working behind the scenes at many of the other NBAA breakfasts over the past 3 years. And today I am pleased to be joining Chris as co-MC to help deliver this very first digital event. Now, before we begin, we would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we are meeting, and that's, for me, the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation and their elders past, present and emerging. We would also like to extend that respect to Aboriginals and Torres Strait Islander people here with us today.
I'd also like to welcome our local Upper House MPs, Craig Ondarchi and Fiona Patton, Councillor Susan Rennie, Mayor of the City of Darebin, and her colleague, Councillor Kim Lassurf, Councillor Karen Egan, Mayor of Nillumbik Shire Council, and Carl Cowie, CEO. Councillors Langdon, Melican and Garotti of Banyule City Council, and CEO Alison Beckwith. Councillor Riley, Moreland City Councillor, Councillor Sherry, Hume City Council, Lydia Wilson, Chair of Administrators at the City of Whittlesea, and CEO Joe Carboni. Terry Larkins, Chair, and Helen Coleman, Deputy Chair, Northern Metropolitan Partnerships. Sorab Motawalla, Regional Director, Victorian Government Business Office, Rob Lucas, CEO, Caravan Industry Victoria, Link Horton, Chair of Northlink, Northlink members and Melbourne's North Food Group partners, ladies and gentlemen. We're excited to be delivering our first digital event and hope that you're safe and comfortable from wherever you may be joining us. To begin, we'd like to cover some housekeeping logistics to ensure you have the best experience today as we celebrate our wonderful award nominees and winners. As you can see, there's a chat box beside the video stream. We encourage you to comment and show your support there by clicking Chat as Guest. Should you experience any technical difficulties, please leave us a comment and our team will troubleshoot with you.
Today's event is brought to you by two of our council hosts, Moreland City Council and the City of Whittlesea. And I would like to now present some exciting updates from both of these great municipalities. First up, Moreland City Council.
Welcome to Moreland. Welcome to Moreland. Welcome to Moreland.
Welcome to Moreland.
Doing, happening sort of place.
Really great energy.
Yeah, I love it.
I think it's a good place to have business.
So why wouldn't you start your business in Moreland?
Fantastic. And now we have the City of Whittlesea. Thank you again, Moreland City Council and the City of Whittlesea for sharing these updates with us. We'd like to now welcome Lynn Porter, Chair of Northlink, to say a few words with us.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our first online NBAA breakfast. COVID-19 has had such far-reaching impacts, and Melbourne's north has felt them deeply in so many ways. However, this region and its residents are resilient, and it amazes me every day to see yet more examples of how businesses and individuals are adapting to the impacts of the pandemic. Clearly, some businesses are adapting well, and some are having to try new things to keep the doors open. But it's been remarkable to see businesses pivot their operating model successfully, especially when that change often happens in the space of just a few days. The impacts on businesses and their workforce is immense, and I'm encouraged to see the compassion and support being provided by our community in the north. Being part of this community is important to Northlink, and we've been endeavouring to support businesses. Along with affiliates such as the Melbourne North Food Group, Northlink has been acting as a sort of bridge between the business community, tertiary education, health organisations, and the government. Northlink has engaged government, providing updates on conditions in Melbourne's north, and we will continue to advocate for further assistance for businesses and the region, including funding and infrastructure. Right now, supporting businesses is our key focus, whether it is providing up-to-date information to the SME community, exploring new business and market opportunities for industries based in Melbourne's north, exploring ways to continue and expand export markets, or working with industry to relax government regulations to make activity easier. Northlink's aim is to support you to ensure the north not just gets through this pandemic, but comes out more resilient than before. And we're not in this alone. Northlink has appreciated the assistance of our partners in education, health, local government, and industry during this crisis. The tertiary education groups have adapted to the online environment with impressive speed, not just adapting to the impacts to their student numbers, but going further, doing such things as offering short courses for the business community specifically tailored to COVID-19 issues. The clinical and allied health sector has responded impressively during the crisis and have demonstrated why we are rated best in the world. Commonwealth and state governments have been very responsive, and local government has reacted quickly, adding to both Commonwealth and state stimulus packages. But I think it's businesses who have really risen to the challenge, not only dealing with the impacts on their businesses, but seeking to assist others. A classic example being our industry sponsors of this morning's event, who have offered expertise and assistance to businesses and stakeholders in the north. Everyone's playing their part, and I'm proud of Northlink's effort in supporting Melbourne's north. Given the way we've all pulled together, I'm hopeful that we will weather this storm and see Melbourne's north continue to thrive. Thank you for your support, and I hope you enjoy this morning's event. Please stay safe.
Thank you, Link. Northlink is doing a great job working with councils, industry, health and the education sector across the region on the economic development front. We also acknowledge that much of Northlink's work is made possible through great partnerships. And it is on this note that I'd like to acknowledge and thank this morning's event's co-sponsors. Gemini provides essential energy services to 1.7 million customers across Australia's east coast. In Victoria, the Gemini Electricity Network powers over 360,000 homes and businesses in Melbourne's northwest. McPherson Kelly is a national commercial law firm helping businesses achieve their goals with practical legal advice. It supports a range of industries, including manufacturing, distribution, automotive, professional services, property, and technology. If you ever need staff, Matchworks can offer you a free quality service to fill those vacancies. And finally, Snap Centres delivers personalised services, taking the time to understand their customers' business and printing needs. Snap's aim is to present and deliver print quality solutions that delight, not just satisfy. We'd like to now extend a special thank you to our other NBAA sponsors and partners: Victorian Government Department of Jobs, Precinct and Regions, Oz Industry, Bank of Melbourne, Inner North Community Foundation, La Trobe Business School, Matthew Steer, Melbourne Polytechnic, Options Consulting Group, and ReadyTel. We are most grateful for the ongoing support we receive from our sponsors and partners. More, view the websites on this webpage below the stream.
And now I'd like to introduce our guest speaker, Mark Maskill. Mark's topic is the Melbourne wholesale market 5 years on. Mark commenced his role of Chief Executive Officer at the Melbourne Market Authority in 2013, having previously held executive positions at Essendon Airport, Essendon Fields and the Australian Grand Prix Corporation. At the Melbourne Market Authority, Mark's role involves providing senior leadership and overseeing all operations and business activities. That involves 3,000 businesses on site and over 10,000 market users, from restaurateurs, greengrocers and supermarkets, who all rely on the Melbourne market as a significant food supplier on a daily basis. Mark has a particular focus on driving the growth and expansion of the Melbourne wholesale market, which provides fruit, vegetable and flowers across Victoria, interstate and for export. Recently, his focus is centred around the development of 51 hectares next to the market. The vision is to transform this site into a food hub of international significance, moving more produce, creating more jobs, which is very important right now, and also building efficiencies into the horticultural supply chain. A key achievement in Mark's career was the successful relocation of the Melbourne wholesale market from West Melbourne to its current purpose-built location in Epping in August 2015, a project 10 years in the making, and one that a number of people in this room worked to make happen. It seems like only yesterday that the market opened. The market provided a great economic boost to Melbourne's north and cemented our status as the food and beverage capital of Australia. When we were physically able to get together, Northlink organised a yearly tour for stakeholders, and we hope to do that again post-COVID. Let's welcome our guest speaker, Mark Maskill.
Hi, my name's Mark Maskill and I'm here to give you an update about where the Melbourne market's at after 5 years in Epping. The Melbourne market, as you know, is Victoria's wholesale fruit and veggie market. We sell fruit, or the market tenants sell fruit, vegetables and flowers. We're one of 6 central trading markets around the country. It's about 5,000 businesses that use the market as a base. There's about 10,000 access cards issued and about 3,500 people use the site on a daily basis. It's been estimated that more than $2 billion worth of produce is traded through the market on an annual basis. So the story so far, obviously we have a facility here that was built in excess of 5 years ago. What we've done in that 5 years is tried to tailor it into a facility that the market community can use to make sure that they can be as efficient as possible. What that's led us to is things like additional small format warehousing. So Warehouse 7 has just been finished. We've got unmanned diesel stations. We're continually reviewing traffic management. We've actually implemented drug and alcohol testing, so that's compliance with health and safety. So lots and lots of different things that we've done to ensure that the market can be efficient. One of the things that we've also done is taking it outside of our facility, and we, along with the other central markets around the country, have invested in a Better Choice program. So this program is all about promoting what your local independent greengrocer does. So it's a better choice to go to your local greengrocer. It's a little bit of a dig at Coles and Woolies, but it's all about a better choice, better product, better service, better quality of product. As I said, that's being done. It's a national program that is being rolled out around the country. So hopefully you'll see some of the ads. There's ads on the radio at the moment in relation to shop in, stay local this winter and shop in, so veg in this winter. The operational improvements and what are we doing into the future. I think I probably have talked to death about undercover parking in the past. I'm pleased to say that it's an absolute step closer. The biggest issue that we've had is in relation to solar generation and how we can link it into the existing network. So we're well down the path on that. I think in the next 6 months, we'll see a bit of progress. The Melbourne Market Authority is also looking at Warehouse 10, so that's additional small format warehousing. And as an industry support type initiative, we're looking at the flower industry and how we can, what the strategic direction of the Victorian government needs to be to support the florist or the flower industry. It's not just about what the traders do here, it's about what does growing flowers look like right through to distribution, importation and the like. So these are all in addition to our normal business as usual type projects. I think it'd be remiss of me not to touch on COVID-19. Clearly, the Melbourne wholesale market is an essential asset in the supply of fruit and veg. That's making sure that we all get fed. And we were very much on the forefront of what we needed to do and how we could actually ensure that this place, one, stayed open, but there was a level of safety for the people that are using it. So from the 2nd of April, we had temperature screening in place. We've recently, as now throughout Victoria, have face masks that are mandatory. We installed additional hand sanitising, reduced or increased our cleaning schedules, reduced the number of people in electric vehicles, and continually reminding people about social distancing and to ensure that we can maintain this place. We have had a couple of instances where there has been a couple of individuals who have been in the market that have since been identified with COVID. What did we do? Well, we cloned the site in excess of, or in addition to where we were at before, and worked with DHHS to ensure there was no close contacts that were identified. One of the things that we have actually got in this place, which enables us to track this pretty well, is that we're able to use our CCTV system to actually identify any close contacts. And what that's meant is that the individuals that did test positive, and there's only been less than one handful, in that there's 3, were quarantined from the market, though therefore they didn't have access, and there was no close contacts that are actually identified. So we're pretty proud that we have been able to implement procedures and put things in place to ensure that this place can continue to operate and that the market community is as safe as it can possibly be. So where to? So I think our vision, which I will continue to share, is that to be recognised Australia-wide as an industry leader committed to innovation and operational excellence, and really utilising the trading market as the anchor for the fresh produce processing, distribution and logistics centre of excellence, centre of international significance. And what that means for Melbourne's north is really this. And this is, the Melbourne Food and Beverage Hub. Now, it's not a new concept, but I'm actually pleased to say that the state is well on the way to in a master planning process for the land that's next door. So the precincts team within the State Government of Victoria have undertaken a master planning process. There's been a number of stakeholder engagement activities over the last probably 6 months. Clearly, the coronavirus and lockdown has got in the way of that. I have seen, and I'm pleased to say that I have seen some draft master planning type outcomes or outputs, and it's actually looking pretty good. What it's talking about is, the food and beverage hub, but it's about imports. It's about export of produce. It's about food and bev processing, innovation. It is about utilising the freeway networks and the proximity to Melbourne Airport to allow allowing easy access in and out of the place. So it's about using the market as the driver. And if there's a whole lot of produce that's coming down to the market to be bought and sold and then distributed throughout Melbourne, what else can this site do? export hub. So if the wholesalers or the traders are actually exporting produce overseas, and about 25% thereabouts of all of Australia's produce that is exported comes out of Victoria. What can we put in place to ensure that that is done effectively and efficiently? Now, that export hub that we're in the process of developing is not just about fresh produce. What we have learned is that if it is the biggest constraint that some of these operators have is the ability to fill a container. And our vision really is to have a facility on site where those containers can be filled in its entirety, whether it's with fresh produce or flowers, or even complemented with grocery type items or meat, can be put in a container at the Melbourne market, taken to the airport, and then on a plane. That ensures that by the time it gets wherever it's going, it's in the best quality possible. The other initiatives in relation to the hub next door, it's all about R&D, innovation, centre of excellence, but it's not about doing this in isolation. It's actually about doing this in conjunction with the RMITs of the world, with Latrobe universities, and even CSIRO. So if you think about food and bev, and if you think about agriculture, you think about the Melbourne market and the precinct that's actually here. So some of the key benefits that I've sort of touched on is supply chain accessibility. We want to talk about innovation. We want to talk about export capability and increased productivity. It's absolutely about production. It's absolutely about employment. And it's a lot about the investment in the region. The state's invested a lot of money in the market itself. It's now time to capitalise on the opportunity that the market presents. And as I said, I'm pleased to say that the state's actually well down the path in a master planning type process, and we'll see where that gets to. So again, it's just about a co-located precinct that'll be known as a centre of excellence that allows for the collaboration and innovation across the entire food and beverage production supply chain in Melbourne's north. And we're really pleased to be part of that. We're really pleased to be contributing to it. It's clearly not been done just with the MMA. It's, as I said, there's been plenty of stakeholder engagement activities through Northlink, as well as the players in the industry themselves. So we see this as a great opportunity for the future. We see this as a great opportunity for the north of Melbourne. And I'm actually really pleased to say that there's been more traction in the last 12 months that I'm seeing in probably my 7 or 8 years at the Melbourne market. So that's it from me, and I'm happy to hand over for any questions.
Thanks very much, Mark. Great presentation, and good to have you here with us this morning. Was a top 3 priority in our Northern Horizons in 2016. It's something that I know you've been pushing for a number of years, as have a number of other stakeholders. Just wondering, how many jobs do you anticipate the
thanks, Chris. Look, we did some work a couple of years ago, and it sort of generated, or so indicated, there's about 6,500 to 10,000 jobs that can be created from this site on an ongoing basis. It really depends a bit on what actually gets put there. I think the key driver, though, is it is absolutely about jobs on this site, but it's more about what this site can do for the north of Melbourne. This site is not the solution; it's part of the solution. It talks to freeing up land that's closer to the city in a use that's possibly not that appropriate at the moment, sort of. But it also then can drive further development if you go a bit further north than where we are now. So, it's, as I said, there's about 6,500 jobs that can be created for the site itself, but it's really about the future development of the region and what this site can do for that, for the region.
No, that's great, Mark. You mentioned solar before. What other sustainable initiatives do you have going at the market?
Yep. Solar is the one we're working on big time at the moment. It's we see the best opportunity, but things that are already in place. We do recycle. The vast majority of the waste that comes from this site is organic. So we do actually recycle about 97% of all the waste that's from the site. That goes to a number of different places. If if you think about organics, the first stop is actually to food bank. So if the product is still fit for human consumption, food bank actually come and distribute it to those that are in need. The next one down the chain is the zoo for animals. They're almost as picky as food bank are in relation to the quality of the product. Anything that's not fit for human consumption and or the zoo ends up at the Yarra Valley wastewater facility or waste to energy facility, which is just up the road from where we are now. And absolutely is a benefit to both us and Yarra Valley Water. So they get clean, green inputs into their process. And we get to, the waste that we have here doesn't go to landfill, which is a great opportunity. So that's what we do from an organics point of view. Other things that are sort of going on. We have water tanks under the site here that we harvest about 35 million litres of water a year that actually gets reused on the site. So it's pretty, we think we're pretty good at the moment, but we do know that there's plenty of opportunity within solar, for example. We have large roof space here. One of the key drivers and bit of the feedback we get from those tenants or those people that are looking to be part of the development of the site next door is security of power. And if we think there's a real opportunity in solar, or actually we don't think, we know there's a real opportunity in solar that can reduce the pressure on the grid in the north, but also ensure that this asset that the state has can be seen in, can actually be a leader in renewable energy type projects that can deliver benefit both to the market community, but again, it's about reducing pressure on the grid as much as anything else.
Look, thanks, Mark. It shows that there are some really amazing things happening at the market, and it shows that there are investments in the pipeline post-COVID. And I'd urge people here at the breakfast today to support the market, Northlink, City of Whittlesea and others in what we're trying to do to get this hub up and running. Thank you for joining us this morning, Mark.
No worries, Chris. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, everyone, for those who are asking questions. Because of our time constraint, we will be addressing these questions separately. We'll send it to Mark and be sure to follow up with a response. Now, it is time to announce the business nominees. So by the end of the year, 12 companies will have been nominated by participating councils. This year, the grand finale award presentation will take place on Thursday, the 3rd of December. So put it in your diary. These winners will be announced in the various categories along with the overall Business of the Year award. Today, we would like to introduce the nominees from Moreland and Whittlesea, and we would like to share a video from each of these businesses with you. From Moreland City Council, the first nominee is Glenroy Bakery.
Glenroy Bakery is a family-run wholesale bakery that's been based in Moreland for 60 years. It started with my father, Antonio Cristiano, delivering bread door-to-door in the northern suburbs. Today, our fleet of 15 trucks delivers over 250 different bakery products to customers including schools, cafes and nursing homes. We also recently reintroduced home deliveries. The majority of our 65 employees live in Moreland, and we've always been proud of our connection to the local community. We've sponsored local sports clubs for over 40 years, and we run fundraisers for charities each year. We're very proud to have been nominated by the Moreland City Council for the Northern Business Achievement Awards. We love what we do, and we hope to continue to be part of the Moreland community and delivering our products to Melbourne businesses and the local community for many years to come.
Fantastic. Now, Moreland's second nominee is Posture Balance.
Welcome to Posture Balance, Australia's largest manufacturer of specialised ergonomic seating and accessories. Our aim is for all people who sit in front of computers to get it right the first time. The experience from 20 years of creating Australian-made products is that we have three distinct focal points. The first is prevention. Bad backs can be avoided by selecting a chair that is adjusted to not just height and weight or your workstation, but the way that you work. We understand how these elements combine and have the advice that goes with the product. Secondly is customisation. We customise our products to suit whether you're taller, shorter, or have a specific spinal issue. And thirdly, prevention. Our products are fully adjustable. They can be set up to provide support specifically where there is pain or discomfort, and we work closely with the rehab and return to work sector. This year, we commence an export program of chairs to the UK and Europe, where our adjustable back support system has been recognised as unique. We'd like to thank Moreland City Council for nominating us for their ongoing support and for this award. Thank you.
Okay, now on to the nominees from the City of Whittlesea. The first nominee is Floridia Cheese.
We're a third generation family cheese making company, Italian style cheese. Grandfather started it back in 1955 when he migrated to Australia. It's the foundations that have been laid down by our generations have enabled us to continue to manufacture very high quality Italian cheese products. Last year was our greatest achievement. We took out highest scoring in 4 cheese categories at the Australian Dairy Awards. Most successful large cheese producer, as well as many other state awards. Highlights would be coming to this new premises and allowing us to enter export markets as well as expand in local and domestic products markets. We want to automate the facility, have better in-house training, develop an R&D facility with a full kitchen for training of chefs. When we make cheese as if we're making it for ourselves. That's how we like to present our cheese to our consumer, to our public, to the people out there.
Whittlesea's second nominee is Repurpose It.
So Repurpose is a resource recovery business built on the basis that all waste can be converted to valuable resource. We came about setting up a new resource recovery business to bring new technology to Australia to set a different standard in the recycling sector. We operate actually 2 Australian first technologies. The first one was our washing facility. It's a state-of-the-art facility, the only of its kind in the country. We imported the technology from Europe and we wash contaminated soil and other types of excavation waste that previously hadn't been recycled. From that, we're able to recover sands and aggregates that replaces virgin materials and reduces the construction industry's reliance on extractive resource. We now have received $1 million of grant funding from the state of Victoria through Recycling Victoria's infrastructure policy, and on top of that created a very innovative business that's setting a new standard in the types of waste that we can recover. I guess we're quite passionate about being located in the northern suburbs of Melbourne. Many of our employees grew up in this region. We're quite passionate about being located here in the Cooper Street West precinct in the City of Whittlesea, and we've really got a pretty grand vision in setting up the City of Whittlesea and our business Repurpose It as a reference site not just for the rest of Victoria but for Australia.
Now it's time to welcome each of our business nominees to the studio so we can get to know more about them. Let's begin with Angela from Glenroy Bakery.
Hi, Chris.
Morning, Angela. Good to see you.
You too.
Now, tell me, how has running a bakery changed since the 1960s?
Well, if you consider that in the 1960s, a loaf of bread cost 20 cents, and invoices were written and calculated manually. And bakeries weren't allowed to bake bread on the weekend, so a lot has changed. Food safety requirements have become very stringent over the last 60 years. The manufacturing processes have become more automated. Consumer tastes have changed and are changing more rapidly. So where in the 1960s you just had your basic beef pies and white bread, now there's a demand for variety in flavours, healthy options, gourmet options, and of course gluten-free and vegan options. And of course technology and the internet have led to many changes, from how orders are received to how payments are made, and to that instant feedback and interaction that's available now. So a successful business now needs to be up to date with technology, have an online presence and a marketing plan, and be at the forefront of change.
Thank you for that. How do you deal with today's challenges, especially COVID-19?
Well, food safety processes have always been important in our industry, but due to the pandemic, we've also introduced face masks, social distancing amongst our staff, keeping departments separate, and restricted access to the bakery, amongst other measures. Business-wise, we've also, due to the demand for greater hygiene, we've introduced individually wrapped products. And like many other businesses, we've pivoted and reintroduced home delivery to local suburbs, which has been very popular.
I'm sure a number of people in the audience will be dying to sample some of your products. You're a great member of the Melbourne's North Food Group, Angela. Glenroy Bakery, thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you, Chris.
And from Posture Balance, we welcome Mark.
Good morning.
G'day, Mark. I've got a few questions for you. Firstly, really like to know why ergonomic chairs are so important for today's workforce.
Sure. I'll give you the dry textbook definition first. It's a science concerned with designing and arranging things people use so that people and things interact most efficiently, safely, and that effectiveness is improved. So breaking that down into simple terms, it's about people, not the actual equipment. It's about their productivity. It's about prevention of new injuries. And ultimately, it's about posture, which in our definition, that's about movement. We know that typically after a new furniture fit out, 30% of people within 3 months have put up their hands to say they've got a back injury or they're unhappy with their equipment. So there's a significant cost in time and money to rectify that. It's often referred to the fact that your best posture is your next posture, and that includes while you're sitting as well. So we're very focused on the fact that an ergonomic chair needs to offer a wide range of adjustment and especially movement. As a company, we like to teach and show people how to sit correctly so that they avoid getting those new accidental postural injuries. And what we're about is getting a focus on adjustment, personalisation, and customisation with a uniform looking product to meet a design consistency in a workplace. So that's why we're different. We want people to choose the right chair and get it right the first time.
Thanks, Mark. And I imagine there'd be a few adjustments at the moment with people working from home as well.
Definitely.
Yeah. I understand you're now exporting and you're able to introduce your products to the UK and European markets.
We were able to work with a company that made a similar product to us for 20 years under a license arrangement. And when that arrangement came to an end, we chose to innovate in order to bring out a new product. They elected not to do so, and that left a big hole in their range. So they looked with interest at the back support system that we developed, invited us over to talk to their clients both in the UK and in France, and have subsequently decided post-COVID, when things settle down, they'll be bringing our product across into both of those markets.
Gee, that's a great Aussie export story coming out of Moreland.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mark. And two great businesses nominated by Moreland City Council this morning, and thanks to the City of Moreland. Also joining us today is Rosalba and Morrow from Floridia Cheese.
Good morning, Chris.
Good morning. Good to see you again.
You too.
I have a couple of questions for you. Firstly, food manufacturing in Australia has a great reputation. Are you planning to increase your exports in future?
We already have a successful export business targeting countries in Asia, including Malaysia, Indonesia, Singapore and Hong Kong. We also export to Brunei and Mauritius. Our long-term plans definitely include expanding our export market to other countries. Our success has been based around finding good partners to represent our brand, and this forms an important part of our expansion strategy. It's exciting to think that our family-based business has gained such a strong reputation overseas for supplying Australian cheeses, and this makes us confident that we can confidently expand the business.
That's great, Rosalba. I think you've told me that you export close to 50% of your product, which is amazing.
About 45% at the moment.
Yeah, that's great. Another great Aussie export story. We'd all like to know, what's the secret in making a great cheese?
I'll hand you over to the cheesemaker.
I don't believe it's a secret. I think it comes back to time-honoured traditional recipes, using freshest ingredients possible, understanding the ingredients you're using, and making the employees understand the processes and the phases of cheese making so that they can assist us in making a high quality product. I think the other thing that's very important is it's about making the quality, not the throughput, that makes us successful. And that's basically it.
That's great. Thank you for that. And I know my family regularly raid the local supermarket for your ricotta, and will continue to do so. Another great member of the Melbourne's North Food Group, Floridia Cheese. Thank you, Rosalba and Morrow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And lastly, we have George Hatzimanolis from Repurpose It.
Morning, Chris.
Good to see you, George.
You too.
And what an innovative business leading the way in the circular economy in Melbourne's North. Just wanting to know, how important are new technologies in today's recycling environment?
Look, the technology piece in particular for our business, Repurpose It, which is quite a young business, we're 3 years old, was fundamentally important right from the outset. In particular because we were entering into a waste market that was very mature in terms of its recycling percentages. So predominantly our business is designed around construction and demolition waste, which is actually one of the highest amount of recovery rates out of any of the waste streams. So we identified it very early in our journey that if we had to enter this market, it really needed to be on the back of having a piece of technology that would give us a point of difference. To do that, we actually looked at international best practice. And I say to many people that was probably a lot of the fun part of the role, was going over to Europe and traveling and researching and finding out what type of technology was out there and being utilized. And what I was able to draw from that conclusion was that in Australia, we've been quite fortunate and spoilt that we have a lot of extractive resource at our fingertips. We have lots of quarrying, lots of sand, lots of aggregates available to us. And that in actual fact has meant that we've been a little bit ignorant to our need to preserve those resources. In other parts of the world, that hasn't been the case. So in particular around Europe, getting access to extractive resource is a lot more difficult than what it is in Australia. So they have actually been recycling construction waste and extracting sand and aggregates from contaminated soil, for example, for many years. It was over there that we identified an opportunity to bring that technology here to the Australian market, and quite fortunately for us in Whittlesea as the first facility of its kind in the country.
Yes. And what plans do you have for your business in the future, George? Are you looking to expand into other areas?
Yeah, look, absolutely. We are very much designed around major infrastructure work. So if you consider all the types of work around building road or rail infrastructure, tunnelling work, any of the waste generated out of those activities is what Repurpose It is designed for today. But it's important for us that we take our brand now and also start interacting with a wider audience. And to that end, a lot of our materials also complement other industries. So something that we're working on at the minute, which will be our third Australian first when it's launched, is actually an integrated organic waste processing facility. We're quite proud to have built a relationship now with Foodbank, and we also now are affiliated with the Melbourne's North Food Group. Our organic waste facility will complement the existing infrastructure in the region. We will have an integrated composting facility and also anaerobic digestion facility. But importantly, it'll complement the existing Yarra Valley facility because we'll have ability to deal with a different type of waste, being packaged food waste. So packaged organic waste is a huge issue in Melbourne. We're still sending hundreds of thousands of tonnes to landfill each year, and our facility will be the first of its kind to take that packaged food waste and recover the organic material. We'll produce renewable energy for one, and also potentially some outputs that will go into our growing soil business. We're quite excited by that project and and their clients about diverting their waste streams from landfill.
Yeah, look, that's fantastic, George, and it's great to have you on board as a member of the Melbourne's North Food Group, and I'm sure our food producers will be very interested in that service. And this is really a way these breakfasts work, in that I was introduced to you and your colleague Mark Centofante by David LaGreca from the Bank of Melbourne, who's a sponsor of this breakfast. So it's good to know all of you guys. And it's amazing the innovative stuff that you're doing right here in Melbourne's North. So thank you for today, George.
Appreciate it.
And thank you also to the City of Whittlesea for making 2 great nominations.
Thanks, Chris, and congratulations again to our wonderful nominees. Now I'd like to welcome Professor Jane Hamilton, Dean and Head of School at La Trobe Business School, to introduce the NBAA Young Business Achiever Awards.
Young Business Achievers are nominated for their outstanding attitude, endeavours and contribution to their organisations. This year, the Young Business Achiever Awards are sponsored by La Trobe Business School. La Trobe Business School conducts industry-relevant research, teaching and learning, which makes a difference to the local and global communities we serve. La Trobe Business School aims to be the business school of choice in the Northern Corridor of Melbourne and to be an innovation hub that supports the local business community. This morning, we recognise 2 young business achievers.
Thank you, Jane. Our first Young Business Achiever from Moreland City Council is Lachlan Umsaya from Posture Balance. Lachlan is 22 years old and is a 3rd-generation steel worker. He's passionate about becoming a senior leader in production at Posture Balance and then eventually following in his father's footstep, running and taking over the business. Among his hobbies is a keen interest in psychology. Lachlan has a strong awareness about the mental welfare of those around him. He offers insights and thoughts on all areas of the company and is keen to see it flourish. Lachlan has been nominated because of his commitment to his mechanical engineering apprenticeship and his interest in creating engineering-based solutions that help Posture Balance provide flexible, customised ergonomic outcomes for their clients. Now, let's hear from Lachlan.
So metalworking is actually in my blood. Posture Balance, as it is now, is an evolution of a company that my grandfather owned that was originally a metalworking company. My father did blacksmithing trade, and now I'm doing a mechanical engineering trade. So I guess you could say it's part of who I am. I love the ethnicity here, actually. It's got a lot of good small restaurants and small businesses that offer me some very unique and interesting foods for my lunch breaks. Very thankful to have been given this award on behalf of my business. And I hope that I can inspire other young people all over the place to stick with what they're doing, find a career, and just keep at it.
Our second young business nominee this morning has been nominated by the City of Whittlesea, Alexander Pisani from Coffee Hit Epping. Alexander opened his first ever business from scratch. The business has quickly developed a reputation as one of the best cafes in the region. Running a business is hard enough, especially at the moment, but Alexander is very focused on giving back to the community and has instigated and hosted several charity events. Alexander has a friendly attitude and amazing work ethic. He's at the cafe 6 days a week, working long hours, but he still finds time to run charity events. Here is Alex to answer a few questions.
I was given an amazing opportunity by the franchise of my choice, which was ended up being Coffee Hit, and what that allowed me to do was it allowed me to give me some sort of confidence going into my first business. I mean, I knew hospitality like the back of my hand, and as much as you can at 25, but it was something that allowed me to sort of have the confidence with the business side of things, and running the actual business side of things can be quite daunting. So, going with a franchise was something that I sort of looked at and really did some research on. I asked a lot of different mentors sort of what their take on the pros and cons on independence versus, being tied down with a franchise. From my point of view, the ability to have people to lean on who have way more experience than I do in that area of things sort of gave me the confidence to move into it as a young person. Being able to call on them at any point, at any time, literally, with any question was something that I really valued. Whittlesea is such an amazing setting for my business as a young person. I mean, I chose the location as it's a growth corridor of the northern suburbs, and it's got a really cool demographic of young families that have moved into the area recently, and this aligns with my brand, which provides us a great platform to grow alongside such an up and coming prominent shire, and it's something that I'm really passionate about is growing alongside my customers and their families and watching them grow with us.
Well, congratulations to our young business achievers. This brings the event to a conclusion. Thank you for joining us this morning for our first Digital NBAA event. I hope you've enjoyed it. All of it wouldn't be possible without the following. Please join me in thanking our hosts, Moreland City Council and the City of Whittlesea, our founding partners, the 6 councils in Melbourne's north, for embracing the NBAA and providing nominees and publicity, our great event managers, JT Production, who've done their own business pivot into the online environment, our media partner, the Epoch Times, and of course, Northlink staff. Thank you also to our Naming Rights Award sponsors and partners, Victorian Government Department of Jobs, Precincts and Regions, Oz Industry, Bank of Melbourne, Inner North Community Foundation, Gemina, McPherson Kelly, Matchworks, Matthew Steer, Melbourne Polytechnic, Options Consulting Group, ReadyTel, Snap, and of course our Young Business Achiever award sponsor, La Trobe Business School. You've all given great support. The next digital event will be on Thursday, the 1st of October. I look forward to seeing you all again with our guest speaker, Pat McCafferty, Managing Director of Yarra Valley Water, who I mentioned here today a couple of times during the presentations. You'll be able to find our business nominees' websites and social handles now in comments and also on our website. We'll be sending out a post-event survey. We'd really appreciate your feedback on this event. Thank you for joining us today. We'll get through this COVID crisis together. Have a wonderful day and stay safe.
Thank you. See you.